Hello, welcome back to my channel. I love these videos. I love talking about what is inspiring me, what is keeping me uplifted and motivated just in the current season. So excited to share. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Tatiana. I'm a business coach and a mentor for women wanting to start their own businesses. I love to talk about business and entrepreneurship, but I also love to talk about lifestyle and just faith and things that keep me organized and motivated and new routines and just different things that just make life better. So that is what these videos are all about. What's inspiring me currently, what is just keeping me going. So let's go ahead and dive into what I have for you all in this video. And I'll also link down a playlist of some of my past What's Inspiring Me videos if you're curious, just to see. I talk about books and podcasts, there's music, and just different random things that are just kind of making me feel amazing in the current moment. All right, so I have my list of things here to keep me on task, to make sure that I know what's going on. But before I get into that, I actually wanted to share a couple of quick tips and things that I find helpful when it's time to start a new month. When this video is going up, it is going to be the start of a brand new month, September, and I wanted to just share some things that are a little bit different than the normal things, I guess, when it comes to a new month or a new season. I feel like when September gets here, I'm in fall vibes. I'm in fall mode. I know it's not till towards the end of September when it actually is officially the first day of fall, but I already am there on September 1st. Really, I start getting there at the end of August, but that's a whole nother topic. So one of the things I wanted to just share is some ways that you can be resetting yourself and just kind of refreshing for this new season ahead, this new month ahead. Of course, planning and sitting down and getting all of your goals in order with whatever your tool of choice is. I personally love to use power sheets at the beginning of the month to kind of help me get my personal and business things in order as far as just a planning tool. And then from there, I use ClickUp and planners and different things like that. But that's one of the things I want to kind of get you thinking about is what are some spaces within your life that maybe you know it kind of bothers you when you go to it, but it's not necessarily always the first thing you're thinking about. Like, okay, we know we need to clean the kitchen, we know we need to clean the bathroom, things like that. But what are some of those spaces that are maybe out of sight, out of mind, but it does bug you? That would be something I would definitely take a look at, trying to organize, declutter, and just figure out a new process for yourself to just help your environment. I know whenever things are cluttered and stuff's all over the place, it's hard to find stuff. My phone, just whatever it is, there's all these notifications and stuff. It can just add to the overwhelm that I'm already feeling. So if you have a cabinet in your house, or there's this one drawer in your kitchen, like I know we have this junk drawer that just literally gets on my nerves, and no matter how many times I try to organize it, it just continues to get junky. So there's all of these different spaces within my house, little nooks and crannies where they can be annoying. I put them off and I'm like, oh, I need to get to that. I need to reorganize that. So what is one you can think of for the month of September that you can clean out? Or whenever you're watching this, for this upcoming week or month ahead, what is one space that you can clean out digitally and one space you can clean out physically within your environment? And of course, definitely do more if you can, but I just wanted to challenge you to clean out at least 2 different areas to help yourself just refresh for the season ahead. All right, so let's get into these different things that have been inspiring me this month. So the first thing, I've mentioned this company before, but Daily Grace Co., y'all, I love it. They have so many faith-based products. They have Bible study plans, and I really splurged when I first got it. So I'm still diving into the things that I purchased back at I want to say it was sometime in the spring. And so the one that I'm currently working in right now is called Search the Word. I've been hitting it about 2 to 3 times a week. I would love to do it every day, so I need to kind of up the ante a little bit on it. But I really like this. So the way that this one is designed, this is perfect for if someone has not read the Bible. I mean, but even maybe if you have read it, I still think it would be great for you too. But it is a 6 week, is it 6 weeks? Yes, it's a 6-week study. And what it does is it walks you through the Bible. So just for example, day 1 is just explaining, why the Bible is important. So we're talking all about that. We're working through different chapters within the Bible. After every single thing, you have some stuff to fill out within here. So there's prompts And there's even some readings just right within the study. It's actually pretty thick. And I am, I believe, in week two, I believe so. So I've already gone through what they have, which I think this is great too. There's a summary of the Old Testament and the New Testament in here. So I went through and read them, and it makes sense because it was saying on here, you know, like in order to understand it, it's important to kind of know what is the overall big picture of everything first. So it was nice to actually just read that. There's some touch points. I'm sure it doesn't cover every single detail, but it gives you enough of a point to where you're like, okay, I kind of get an idea of what's happening. So now when you go to read it, you will have better understanding of what to expect, what's next, why things are happening, what's the key takeaway within this set of books and different things like that. So I just think that that's really cool. I wanted to share that. I believe I have an affiliate link for them. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, I will link this one and a couple of my other favorite ones that I have gotten. Okay, so the next thing is a book. I have really been on a reading kick this year. I just wish that I could read a little bit quicker, but the problem is when I sit down to read, typically at night, because I would love to read at night, usually I'm like, oh, you know, let me spend some time with my husband, or I'm tired. That's kind of like the two things. So that doesn't really work. Then I try to do it in the morning, but I've been really struggling to get up early in the morning since we got back from my trip I took. It's just been hard for me to get back up at 5:30. So I'm working towards it. I'm trying. Right now I'm getting up sometime around like 6:15, 6:30. And it's hard to fit this in. But the book that I'm currently reading, I'm about halfway through it. It's called How Are You Really? From Jenna Kutcher. It is so good. I've been reading it for what feels like about a month now. So I'm hoping I can finish it soon. Like within the next 2 weeks would be great. Just realistic, right? I do like audiobooks as well, but I've really just been trying to be more hands-on with reading and just have that time. So that's really why I've been into the physical books. I've read some good ones this year, and I have some good ones on my list, like y'all. Maddie James' book just came out, Everyday Magic. I'm planning on reading that. And there's another book I'm going to mention a little bit later. This book is so good. It really dives into, if you are familiar with Jenna Kutcher, she has the Gold Digger podcast. It's not all about business because her podcast is very business focused. It's really about life and just different principles on how to approach your goals, approach things you want to do, who you want to be, and just transitioning. And it's just really good. So she tells a lot of personal stories, and I really, really like it so far. So the biggest thing I would say is it's just a great read for you if you feel kind of like you're unsure of where you're at right now. Maybe you're going through some changes, you're pivoting, you're just kind of feeling, the question of how are you really is really diving into no, but really, how are you? So it's really, really good. I'll definitely do some reviews, or I'll probably do a review or something of this after I'm finished with it, because this has probably been my favorite book so far that I've read this year. So the next thing, I always love to share a song that has been encouraging me. I feel like sometimes I'd be late to the music, especially with Maverick City, but it is what it is. The fact is that I'm here now and I'm loving it. And the song that I'm obsessed with right now is Firm Foundation, y'all. It is such a good song. So I feel like I actually heard it a few months ago. I went to church with one of my friends, and their worship team actually sung the song. And I was like, oh, this is a good song. So then I kind of forgot about it for a little bit. And then we went to church just a few weeks ago with my neighbor, and we heard it again. And I was like crying, and it was just so good. And so I ended up listening to Maverick City music. I think that next day, I didn't even know it was their song. And it had came on, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is that song. And I have been pretty much playing ever since. Like, my daughter sings it with me all the time. Like, we love it. So I'll make sure that it's linked down below if you have not heard Firm Foundation. And, if you are new here, I do love to sing. So I'm going to share a little bit of it with you all just to hear how it sounds, because I love this song so much. It's so beautiful. The meaning is just so needed for, I feel like, so many different seasons within our lives, right? When you are going through things and you just know that God's got you no matter what. He is your foundation, and He is going to get you through whatever this thing is that you're dealing with. So I am just loving it. It's so timely, and yeah, Firm Foundation. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad, 'cause I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. Rain came, wind blew, my house was built on you. I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Oh, rain came, wind blew, my house was built on you. I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. I'm gonna make it through. I'm standing strong on you. I'm gonna make it through, 'cause my house was built on you. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad, and I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. Okay. I wasn't warmed up, and it is what it is. I love that song so much. Hopefully that blessed you. Maybe it was what you needed to hear. It's my favorite faith-filled song right now. I listen to it almost every day at some point, because it's just such a good reminder of how good God is. Like, I've been sharing on and off. This has been a trying year for me in a lot of ways. And so I have really been leaning heavily on worship music, like daily. You know, sometimes I don't always get around, and it's just the reality. I don't always get around to devotionals. I don't always get around to sitting down, reading the Bible as much as like I want to do that. The one thing I know I can do is listen to music, and it always just helps me. It always blesses me, and it just touches me exactly where I need it to. So that in itself is just something that's been inspiring me throughout this year, is just really good worship music. And I shared, I think in my last video, that I had just recently came upon Maverick City Music. I've heard of them before, but really getting into their music this year, and I mean, I'm obsessed. So I only have 2 more things I wanted to share. The next one is a podcast. It is John Acuff's podcast, and I believe it's called All It Takes Is a Goal. His podcast is so good. I actually heard him. He was a guest on another podcast I listened to. I think it's called the Influencer Podcast, something like that. And he was a guest on there, and I just really loved everything he had to say. So then I was like, okay, let me go ahead and check out his podcast. And he has several books that he wrote. So I'm actually thinking about adding one of his books to my list to read this year. It's called Soundtracks. And it's all about like the mindset we have, the way that we think, and really the stuff we have on repeat that we tell ourselves, just based off of sometimes the lies that we tell ourselves, the trauma we've been through. We have this narrative. And so the book is all about shifting that and replacing the soundtrack that you're hearing right now and replacing it with something positive. So I really think I want to read that. It sounds really good. But his podcast has been so helpful, and just little tidbits and nuggets of just ways to accomplish things, new ways to just look at perspectives. Like I was listening to it this morning, and it was just all about, okay, you know, when someone is constantly dealing with a distraction. It was like a lady wrote in and she was talking about that. And she was saying, you know, how do I deal with being distracted all the time? And then when I go to sit back down and do it, you know, how do I do that? And so he was just sharing different tips on that. And one of the things he was saying, which I thought was great, was, you know, first of all, just kind of already anticipating that it's going to happen, like actually just knowing that you're going to get interrupted at some point. But also, I really liked how he was saying to create something to refresh yourself. So, you know, like if you know you're getting interrupted, he called it a ginger moment. So basically like the moment where you refresh and you get ready to get back into what you're doing. So whether that's going for a walk, maybe you go get a drink of water or something like that. And then that's kind of like your mode to reset back in versus just sitting back down, just straight up from being interrupted. And sometimes it's hard to get back in the groove. So I'm going to link that episode down below so you guys can listen to it if you want to, because he talked about that one. I think he talked about being overwhelmed. And another takeaway I got from that podcast, which was really good, was to focus on the things you have done for the day versus the things you haven't done. And he was just saying how studies have shown that we tend to just focus on what we didn't accomplish, and it makes it more overwhelming. It makes it more stressful for us. And so if you shift your focus, you know, and you see like, okay, I actually accomplished a lot today, even though I didn't get to these two things. Look at what I did do. So really just instead, just like kind of like the glass half full, half empty thing, looking at what you have done. I think that's such a good mindset shift. And even yesterday I had a to-do list and I was looking at what I hadn't done. Of course, as I'm checking it off, but really it feels good to look at the things that did have a check next to them. So I think that that's a really good concept, and it can really go across the board with anything we're doing, even if it's like a huge project. Focusing on what has been done. So yeah, definitely check out his podcast. And then the last thing I wanted to share is kind of a win that I have. So I've talked about in the past how meal planning has been something that I'm not a fan of, okay? I don't really like it, but you know, it has to happen. It's definitely something that's important because my family has to eat. And so I finally have a system, and I wanted to just quickly share it with you all. I could definitely do a more in-depth video if you want, but I just wanted to share what I'm currently doing if you're interested. So I basically have 3 different tools that I use. I'm pulling this up on my computer, so that's why I'm looking over to the side. I have 3 different tools that I use to make this happen. Pinterest, because that's where I get a lot of the new recipe ideas and stuff. Google Spreadsheets, which I'll show you in a second, and then ClickUp. So the reason that I have these 3 tools is because they all work together, and I'll show you exactly what I mean here in a second. But what I like to do, I have it already blocked in my calendar. I meal plan for about 2 weeks out, sometimes even a little bit more, 2 to 2.5 weeks out. And so then I'll have it already on my calendar based off of when's the last meal I have planned to sit down and then plan out the next set of meals and then do a grocery pickup or go to the grocery store, whatever I decide to do in that moment. I'm actually going to record my screen and just share. So if you're looking for just a different way to possibly meal plan, I've been researching this for a while. I got the idea to do this spreadsheet. I'm going to try to find the video of where I originally saw this from. It's a lady here on YouTube, and she shared this spreadsheet and this concept of pretty much cooking what you already know that you can make, because that's a big thing we can sometimes put, well, at least I'm not gonna say we, I can put a lot of pressure on myself to reinvent the wheel all the time, and sometimes that doesn't need to happen every time. So I like to mix it up, do some new meals as well as just different things. So, okay, my screen is finally recording. So first we're gonna start with my meal planning. So the way the meal planning works, I have it in a calendar view. I also have the Google Docs that I mentioned. I have it linked here, and then I have my Pinterest board. So like I said, they all work hand in hand together. So the first thing is to list out all of the stuff that you are comfortable making or that you know you make regularly. And this will give you an idea here on this spreadsheet. So right now, this is kind of my summer one, I'm going to be doing a fall one soon to switch it to a lot more like soups and heavier meals and things like that. But I list out all of my go-to meals over here, and then also anything I want to just put down that I regularly might do for like lunch for Emery, breakfast ideas and things like that. Stuff that I make on a regular basis, I put that there. And then I also have these meal theme ideas, which is kind of gives me an idea of what I'm gonna make on the said day of the week. Now, I do not cook every day of the week. I usually cook 3 or 4 times out of the week. But if it lands on one of these days, I don't have to be like, oh my gosh, what should I make? I have so many ideas. I could just say like, okay, it's Monday. I really love doing sheet pan and foil packet meals on Mondays. Like, it has been a game changer. Monday is just such a slow day for me. I really like to ease into the week. I don't usually get on camera on Mondays or really do a whole lot. So I think it's just a nice, easy way to just toss some stuff in there. Usually it's little to no cleanup, and I've been really enjoying it. I'll actually link some of the recipes down below that I've loved doing in the foil packets, because I have already like a good 3 or 4 that I'm really, really liking. I just did one recently. It was a shrimp boil one. So it had like the corn and the potatoes and the sausage and y'all, and shrimp with the seasonings, and it was so good and so simple. So anyway, I have a theme for all of those different days. Sunday, it says down home because my husband calls it down home, but it's basically just like comfort food, you know, comfort meals that are really filling, soul food, things like that. So I just put that on there because it makes me laugh. Okay, so that is pretty much how that is set up. And you, of course, would do this in any way that will work best for you. And then I have the go-to meals. So from there, I can then figure out what are going to be some of my go-to meals I'll add into my meal plan, and I can pull them from there. Now, I always like to mix and match and do a couple of new things, and that is really where my Pinterest board comes in. So the Pinterest board, it's called Month Meals. I've just been using that for literally years now, and I save all of the meal ideas and things that I'm thinking I might want to do within this board. So I have a ton of ideas, and they all fit into, you know, like if it's taco night, I might want to change it up a little bit, like we're having tonight. As I'm filming this, we're having bang bang shrimp tacos, so that'll be really good, and it's different from just the typical ground turkey and taco shells, you know, so something a little different. And then I can pull from this. If I see something yummy, I can pull it when I'm trying to fill in the calendar. And then the last part of it is ClickUp. So this is where the calendar part comes in, and it's nice, it's organized, I love it. And then I have it color coded, so all of the pink is basically dinners, and then I believe purple is lunches, because I do like to prep our lunches and stuff as well. And then you can just see I have my stuff planned. So we've already been having a lot of these things. My husband typically cooks on Saturdays, which has been really nice. That's something I decided to delegate and pass on to him, and it's been amazing. Fridays is kind of more of like a takeout eating day, and then I have my days when I cook. So it's been really good. I just wanted to share this because I know how it can be just overwhelming with being a mom and a wife on top of all of the other things that you have to do. And I always felt growing up like my mom was just like a superwoman. You know, I felt like she was a superwoman and she was able to just do it all and balance it all. And now being in this role, first of all, I see that that was not true, because now I'm in that position, and I know that she was probably burnt out at times and overwhelmed and just wanted to sit down. But you know, to a kid, you're like, oh my God, she just does it all, you know? And so I had to take that pressure off of myself, first of all, that I cannot do it all. But also I realized that it's okay to not feel like I need to do all of these extra things. Like, I don't need to have these brand new recipes all the time. If I'm not feeling it, you know, we can have them go-to meals like I had on there. And it just really took the pressure off for me of feeling like I needed to have this like extravagant meal plan set up and all of these things. And so I sit down. I don't enjoy meal planning at all. So I have this set up where I really could sit down once a month if I wanted to do this, and then would do the grocery thing like twice a month. So it's a really good system. I was using it at the end of the spring. I paused when I went out of town, and then I started using it again since we've been back, and I'm still loving it. So I just wanted to share it because it has been a big weight on me of just trying to figure out all of the different areas in my life and how to juggle them. And I've talked about the time blocking thing. I think I might do a more in-depth video on that soon. But this has been another area where I'm just like, okay, how am I gonna make this work? So I'm happy to report that I finally have come up with a system that's been working well for meal planning, and I'll continue to do it. I hope that you found something within this video that was helpful, something to look into, something to try, read, watch, listen, whatever the case is. I really, really love sharing with you all. Definitely take a moment if you have anything that has been inspiring you as well, something you want to share with me or anyone watching this video, leave it down in the comments so that we can all encourage one another and just share what we know, things that are working, things that are helping us, because we all need it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you soon. Bye.